It was Christmas Eve, and I was a freshman in high school. My family has been split up for some time, so normally we trade off of Christmas Day and Christmas Eve every year. And this year, I had come home early for my grandparents' Christmas party while everyone else was at my aunt and uncle's celebrating at another party. When I was dropped off, my cousins offered to stay with me for a few hours, yet I declined. But I thought I could watch some of my new DVDs and get some alone time in the house, which is a rarity. I had noticed an unfamiliar car parked on the street, but I didn't think anything of it, considering it was Christmas Eve. Probably a neighbor's relative or something. After I got inside, I locked the door, grabbed snacks, and started to settle down. I hadn't been home for more than 15 minutes when there was a knock at the door. I unlocked the door and opened it only a crack to see a man standing there. Dark hair, glasses, slightly overweight, and dressed casually. He didn't look like much of a threat, but my stomach dropped. He asked, "I was wondering about the car outside. Is it for sale?" I told him I didn't think so. "Is there someone here I can talk to about it?" I said, quite stupidly I might add. "No, you can come back another time," and shut the door and turned the lock as fast as I possibly could. He reached for the handle immediately and started pounding on the door. I heard a string of profanities and the pounding stopped. Terrified, I was crawling on the floor to the phone, hoping he wouldn't be able to see me through one of the windows. Then I heard the noises. Our house had an open garage door and led it through to the laundry room, where the door lock was broken and no one had bothered to fix it. Just then I heard a man yell, and I saw the man through the window run to his car and drive off. My uncle had gotten him just in time and scared the man off. Who knows what would have happened if he hadn't made it home in time. Sadly, we didn't get the plate number, and nothing ever came of it, but I'll never be home alone on a holiday again. When I was about 8, my parents divorced and my dad moved into an apartment complex nearby. I love stories with visuals, so I'll post a few pictures of the surrounding area of the apartment. Smiley face with wink. I'll explain the setup a little better. In the area I lived in, there were 3 apartment buildings on the one side my dad lived on, each holding 12 apartments. In front was the parking area for everyone, and then some woods we used to play in. The back of the apartments had a creek, and across the creek was a large cluster of more buildings plus a pond. The story takes place on my side of the apartments. My dad lived on the first building, closest to the road. My brother and I were playing out in the woods when I started talking to a girl that was also out there, my age. There was about 10 kids in total that all played in the woods together every weekend. This girl, who all called Katie, had the same name as me, so we got along pretty good. We would also play with each other instead of with the whole group, setting up our own forts and such. One day, she said that her brother had to watch her play outside from now on. His name was Chad. I don't exactly remember how old he was, but I would have to say he was in high school. He was much larger than 8-year-old me. He would normally sit up on the deck in their front-facing apartment and watch Katie and I play in the parking lot or at the edge of the woods. We wanted to go into the woods one day, so he had to come with us since we would be out of view from the porch. We decided to play hide and seek. Katie and I wanted to be on one team, Chad on the other. Chad immediately spoke up and we would take turns and said we would take turns, so him and I would hide together while Katie counted. We agreed and him and I took off together while Katie counted. We decided to run through the woods up the hill and hide behind this huge wide tree. Things started getting weird. I remember him setting me on his lap and rubbing my legs, saying that doing this would keep me calm and quiet. Katie gave up, so she never saw me and him together like that. A little later, and we're partners again. We once again ran up the hill onto the same faraway spot, and he pulled me in his lap again. This time he began rubbing my chest area, telling me this would keep me even calmer and quiet. I thought I felt weird and that this wasn't right, but I had never been told by my parents what areas of my body shouldn't ever be touched, so I brushed it off. After Katie eventually found us, we stood up and took off down the hill back to the parking lot. Chad slapped my butt and said, "Good job hiding." 2 weekends later, and I'm back at my dad's. It was midsummer, so we decided to go play in the creek behind the apartments. Chad had to come since he couldn't see us. We were swimming around for a while and decided to go deeper in. I had been in swim lessons since I was walking, so at 8 I was an amazing swimmer. I remember Chad going underwater and grabbing my ankle, yanking me under. As we were both under, I felt him touch me between my legs and grab my hands and pull me up. Gasping for air, I heard him say, "Oh my God, you started drowning. Are you okay?" I replied back with, "No, you pulled me under." He fought back and insisted that I probably slipped on the rock and went under. I was too focused on having fun with my friend to really be affected by what he was doing. Every time I would go underwater, he would too and touch me somewhere inappropriate. I had enough when he held me under for longer than my lungs could hold, pressing down on my chest. After this, Kitty and I stopped hanging out as much. A few months later, I invited her inside to play with some toys and she was allowed, but wanted to go back to her house and get some of her own toys. I followed her inside. I remember seeing Chad in a chair and her sister on the couch, in between two guys. There were beer bottles on the table and what I now know was drugs, but never realized at the time that I saw marijuana and cocaine on the table. A few weeks later, my dad moved out and I had never heard of or seen Katie and Chad since. I look back and wish I had said something to my parents or even reacted to what he was doing. I was just young and naive and innocent to really see the bad in people. I do remember getting a weird note from Chad once, and I may still have it. I'll definitely post it once I find it.